What up, guys? This is Luke from SoberFromDespair.com, and sitting in my room tonight. It's like, let me see what time it is. It's 12:21 a.m. I'm at my computer right now, and it is March motherfucking 8th, 2013. Doing a video blog tonight on prescription pills and why I think there's a lot of misconceptions with them, and those misconceptions are very, very deadly. For me, when I first started using and stuff, I was under the idea or the notion that like prescription pills were fine. Um, my first like really times using them, I guess was when I was growing up, and I mean I'd have them for like wisdom teeth or for when I was sick or something like that, or cough syrup when I was sick and stuff. But then there was always some left over, and I would take it to help me sleep or something. It always gave me that warm feeling that I ended up becoming addicted to, that feeling that I loved and used all the time for. But when I first started using methadone, for example, I thought methadone was good. I mean, obviously it felt good and everything, but I thought it was good to use because my dad's been on methadone and stuff, and I um, just thought, well, he's been on it for a long time. Like, it's not addictive or anything. It's not getting him high. At least I thought in my head at the time, and I'm like, okay, fine. Like, he's able to take it for pain and stuff, and like, why not me be able to take it? And he's doing fine on it. But there's like a disconnect between me thinking like, oh, he's always on it, versus me using it sometimes and then not using it when I didn't have it available to me. And so after a while of it being like that, then I became like really fucking addicted to it and like going through withdrawals and shit when I wasn't on it. And just fucking bad news. And like when I went to Cedar for rehab, they had like a family week or whatever, and I think it was like 3 days long, maybe, or maybe 5 days even. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask my parents because they went. But I only saw them for 2 days of the family week, and the rest of the week when they were there, it was just giving them really just information on addiction and stuff. And the information that they received at the end of it, they were told now they know more about addiction, or if they've had more information given to them about addiction than most doctors do. And most doctors, I thought, were pretty sure I'd have to relook it up, but I thought when I first got into recovery, I was told that most doctors only have like 2 day seminar long on addiction, and they have to take like a 2 day class on it, and that's it. And like, if you're an addict watching this, like you know very well that there's way more information to be given about addiction that can be covered than 2 days. I mean, there could be fucking like year long classes that could be given on addiction and still not cover everything. So there's kind of a lot of, I don't know, I think a lot of people are misinformed about going to doctors and about taking medicines and stuff. And then when it comes to their kids or family members or whoever being around those pills, like, those people can get their hands on pills pretty easily. I know for me, I could, and it's kind of where I started. I come from Colorado. I live in Woodland Park, and the town that I work in and gone to school in and stuff is Colorado Springs. And they started out. There's a school called Cheyenne Mountain down there, and I've known a lot of people, especially at my work, who went to Cheyenne Mountain, and Cheyenne Mountain now has like a huge heroin problem. There's like a big ass heroin problem in all of Colorado Springs. But it started out with kids using OxyContin, and then their parents ended up being informed about their kids getting into their pills and shit. And that OxyContin addiction like dried up really quick because parents were like taking more preventative measures of, I don't know, securing their pills from their kids getting into them, and then it just turned into heroin because the addiction was still there, and heroin really is the exact same thing as OxyContin. Um, Even at like a molecular level, like it's the same thing as heroin. So, I think if people are going to be using pills or whatever, like if you have to go to a doctor, especially if you're an addict, you got to definitely assess all the possibilities, like all the dangers in using their medications that they prescribe to you, and talk with the doctor about what's going on with you in your past and shit, to let them know like you have the disease of addiction, and it needs to definitely be looked at in a different light, with how they prescribe the pills and how long you're supposed to be on the pills and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Definitely don't always trust your doctors though too, because they fuck you over. I've seen that happen a lot. So, anyways, I guess we'll get to the part that I was also going to talk about, and that's matter of locking up medications. Um, when I was using, I was stealing most of my pills from my dad. Like that's where I got most of the shit. And he definitely started locking them up and shit. And I always, for the most part, always found a way to them. And even when they were locked up, I did. He would like buy boxes at Walmart or whatever. You can buy like, I forget what they're called, like the exact name brand. It's like Century or some shit like that. But they make like lock boxes for medicines, and that's what they're supposed to be for. But the lock boxes were really shitty, and I loved those lock boxes. I actually still have a key for one of them. You can see it. It's right there. And the keys for those are really generic. If you look at it, it's just like two little cuts right there. And so I found out after going through withdrawals and shit and trying to figure out how to get into this lockbox, I was like, okay, I gotta go to Walmart and see like if I could find a key like that. I started looking in the lock boxes, and all of them had this exact same key. And so I started buying, like I bought one of those lock boxes, and this is the same key actually. Just found it tonight when I was gonna do this video. I don't know why I have it. But so I started using this key, and I was like, fuck yeah, like it's locked up. I could say that they're locked up and I'm not getting into them, but I can still fucking use this key and get into them whenever they're around me. And I loved it. And after like several months of that, ended up switching to like, there's like a bag that had like the zipper on it was like a special zipper, and when you close the zipper, it had like a little notch that the zipper fit around like that, and there was like a lock that you could put on the outside notch, and when it was like that, like you couldn't undo the zipper. And so after going through withdrawals for a few days and trying to figure out how to get into these, I ended up like cutting very small incision in like the end of the zipper, like where the teeth come together, and I had it cut enough to where the zipper wouldn't close all the way without having this little hole in there. And then since it was a bag, I could take off the top of the pill bottle through just gripping around the bag and doing it like that. And then I took some locking, what are those called? Forceps, for like surgeries and stuff, like forceps. And I'd stick those in there because I had some long ones that I found because we used them for fishing. I'd stick those into the pill bottle, and I'd pull out pills individually. And it would take me a few minutes to do that, but after a while I got like really good to where it would take me like less than a minute to get like 10 or 15 pills, and then close it back up, and it looks like nobody had been into the medication. And so after a while, like his medication draining, he found like a new means of locking it up. And I have a guitar case to show you an example of that. Pull this over here real quick. He bought a lock. Grab the microphone. He bought a lock that was kind of like this right here. You can see that. And what I would do is I'd just start spinning these and push on it. And I figure like I have one in like 999 chances of getting it, which seems like a lot. Like if I was to individually go by numbers, that would take a long time to do. But if I just kept spinning it, pushing it, spinning it, pushing it, spinning it, pushing it, spinning it, pushing it, after even less than like 2 or 3 minutes, I would take and break into it and then get my meds that way. And that was something that was really easy to do, and I did that for a long time too. And then eventually he got like another key, which this is like a gun lock key. Wasn't the exact same one, but he got another key like that was actually like keyed, and started locking it up in there. And that was a lot harder for me to figure out like how to get into this box that had a lock like that. And eventually one night I snuck into their room while my parents were sleeping, and I took his keys, went into Walmart early ass in the morning, and had them make me a key for this lock. And so I used a key that way, and just ended up breaking into the box that way. And so eventually he found a lock that had like it was an actual like combination type lock. Like if you're gonna lock up your medicine, which I strongly recommend you do, anybody who has medicine somebody could get fucked up on, like lock that shit up. And also be very careful how long you're on the medicine, because if you're on it for a long time, like even if you're not going to have to go to rehab and do all the shit that I've had to do and like live a life of recovery, your brain will become physically addicted to it, and you will have to like slowly wean yourself off or go through withdrawals to get off of it. But if you do have medicine, get a lockbox that you can use, like a padlock, combination padlock that you put on that isn't like this lock right here. Don't buy something shitty and cheap that has a lock and key like that I could just buy another one and break into like that. And if you do have a key like this that's actually keyed, make sure that that's totally separate from where anybody can get to it, and only you know where that is. Like don't put that on your key ring, because get into it that way too. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of apprehensive about putting this out there because I don't want to like give somebody ideas if they're trying to get medication from somebody. Like I don't want to show them all the little techniques I use to break into medicine and stuff. But this site isn't about that. This site's about recovery, and this site is about family members for people that are in recovery, or family members of people that have addiction. And so this is just good information for anybody to know and really follow through with, because fucking I got into that lockbox all the time. I always found a way into it, like always found a way to get medicine. Even after the padlock thing was used, like he wouldn't take the padlock and box to his work, but he'd get up early to go to work. And so he got into the habit of starting his car early in the morning to warm it up, like when it was snowy out. And so what I would do, like as insane as I was, like I would wait, because he'd take like his big bag of all of his shit, like all of his stuff that he needed for his day at work, and his medicine was in there. And that would all like go out to his car, so he'd start up his car. And so I would take and hide out in the motorhome at like fucking 5:45 in the morning, just wait for him to go out, start his car, and put his shit in there. And I'd race in to his car, take out all the medicine I needed, put it back in there, and then I would like wait until I was safe to go inside and I wasn't caught. Sometimes I'd even leave my window open and climb in through my window, and then get up like I went to the bathroom or something, so that they didn't think I was outside. But I tried to cover all my bases to break into this medicine and just get all this shit. And it even came to the point where like at night, it'd take me like an hour or two to do, but like he wouldn't keep his medicine locked up at night if he needed to get into it in the middle of the night. And so I would take in, like, crawl into their room, to my parents' room upstairs. There would be a dog up there that would always bark when I'd do it, so I'd take and call her downstairs with some cookies so that she knew that I was up there and wouldn't freak out. And then I would just be really quiet, dressed in like all black, and like just crawl my way around the room, inching my way, and get the medicine while they're in there, and then close it up and put this back, all while they're sleeping, with just knowing that I could get caught very easily. Like, all they'd have to do is get up and walk to the bathroom, and they would have stepped on me if they didn't already see me. So, if you do have medicine, like, keep that shit locked up. Like, I was reading online tonight about different lock boxes and stuff before I did this, just to, like, I don't know, just to see if those same lock boxes were out there and stuff. And one of the lockbox companies that was sponsored by, like, Dr. Drew or some shit, it was talking about how the lock on it was faulty, even, like, wouldn't even lock all the way at times. And they had to discontinue having this lockbox, and they had to recall them, like certain pharmacies did. And the owner of it, his thing was, the shit that he said, his response to that was like, well, the lockbox is just to, it's not to prevent somebody from getting into it. It's to send a message across that you don't want somebody into your medicine. Coming from me, from a fucking addict, like, person that used the pills, and that's what I was addicted to, like, that's the shit that I love. That's what I was all about. Like, that's all I thought of. The only thing a lockbox did was it showed me where the medicine was. And it showed me where my target is, and how, like, this is my goal. I just got to get into here somehow. Like, there's just a few inches of metal or whatever, or a quarter inch of metal or some shit separating me from my drug. And so I just got to figure out how to get into there. And that's like, that's an addictive that's an addict's, like, mind frame when it comes around to that shit. I don't care whether it's alcohol or what it is. Like, if you're locking it up, the only message you're sending to an addict, or at least to me anyways, was, this is where it is. And then if that lock is faulty, if that I have a way of breaking into that lock, I'm going to get into that shit. And then I'm going to use that to my advantage by later saying that I didn't get into your medicine or something because you had it locked up. There's no way I could have got into that. So, if you're watching this, keep your shit locked up. Don't let your family members, kids, anybody get into your shit. And then also be careful while you're on that shit, because there's a lot of people I've met, a lot of people I've known, who got addicted to medicine prescribed by their doctor. And shit's not okay. Like, that shit is not good. And then they have to live a lifelong, like a long ass life of being an addict and getting into recovery and doing all this stuff, which there's a lot of cool shit in recovery. Like, I love recovery. Like, thank God I'm here. Like, this is going to be my life from now on, and my future is all going to be involved in this. But recovery is also a disease, or addiction is also a disease, and recovery is just a way of battling it so that it doesn't fuck up your life anymore. I'm lucky that I got into the recovery, and I'm lucky that I'm at where I'm at right now. And hopefully, if I keep doing the stuff I'm doing, I'll be able to maintain this. But I have the rest of my life to get fucked up now because I'm an addict. And I also know a lot of people that have gone into recovery and dropped out of it. So, like, although recovery is really cool and I fully embrace it and I fucking love that I'm doing this, I love that because I have to do this. And I have to embrace it because I have to do this. It's also, every day is pretty scary in the sense that I could fall off at any moment, and I could be out there on the streets, could be dead, I could be doing all the fucked up shit I was doing before to get high. I could just be back where I was, you know? So, I'm not dissing on recovery or anything, but I just don't want to see somebody else have to become an addict and go through the shit that I have to do unnecessarily, because they ended up getting into somebody else's medicine, or because their doctor kept them on medicine, and both patient and doctor didn't fully understand what was going on or what the potential dangers are with going on this shit. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it made sense. It is kind of early in the morning, and I've been talking to you for a minute now, so I'm gonna sign off. You guys have a good night. Thanks for coming. Soberfromspare.com again. All right, peace out.